Perennial. Continuing over a long or endless duration. Perennial political conflict. Perennial flowering plants. Perennial national debate. Perennial agricultural crops. Perennial plants maintain soil structure and reduce erosion in farming areas. The Arctic permafrost hosts perennial microbial life under extreme conditions. Surveillance. Close observation, often for security purposes. Government mass surveillance. Constant electronic surveillance. Intelligent video surveillance. State security surveillance. Smart cities heavily depend on surveillance to manage traffic and security. Constant surveillance was required to secure the border from illegal activity. Millennium. A time period of 1,000 years. Millennium Development Goals. Millennium Development Goals. Millennium Historical Significance. Millennium Religious Beliefs. Scientific progress accelerated during the first 2 decades of the millennium. Religious prophecies predicted dramatic changes with the coming millennium. Integrity. Honest and strong moral character or principles. Academic personal integrity. Institutional structural integrity. Ethical leadership integrity. Professional code integrity. Judicial integrity guarantees fair treatment and upholds constitutional values. Organizational integrity influences public perception and long-term credibility. Proliferation. Rapid increase or spread of something widely. Digital platform proliferation. Biological cell proliferation. Global arms proliferation. Policy document proliferation. Social media platforms have seen massive content proliferation recently. Proliferation of urban slums poses challenges for sustainable development. Hierarchy. A ranked system of authority or importance. Religious spiritual hierarchy. Traditional family hierarchy. Social hierarchy structure. Hierarchy within institutions. The military hierarchy strictly defines ranks, roles, and command structures. Gender roles historically shaped the social hierarchy in patriarchal societies. Benchmark. Standard point used for performance comparison. Industry performance benchmark. Regulatory compliance benchmark. Global development benchmark. Financial reporting benchmark. That company set the benchmark for innovation in the automotive industry. The test results serve as a benchmark for evaluating treatment effectiveness. Monopoly. Exclusive control over the market or product. State-sanctioned monopoly. Corporate power monopoly. Absolute market monopoly. Monopolistic pricing strategy. A monopoly stifles entrepreneurship and limits business entry opportunities. Historical monopolies often hindered innovation and fair market competition. Stereotype. Widely held but oversimplified group belief. Cultural gender stereotype. Media-perpetuated stereotype. Societal behavior stereotype. Visual representation stereotype. Society benefits when individuals reject outdated and misleading stereotypes. Media representations often reinforce harmful cultural and gender stereotypes. Cohesion. The state of sticking together as one. Structural material cohesion. Community cultural cohesion. Emotional familial cohesion. Organizational team cohesion. Social cohesion is essential for maintaining peace in a diverse modern society. Linguistic cohesion helps readers follow the logical flow of any written content. Sovereignty. Authority to govern without external control. Absolute state sovereignty. National sovereignty claims. Sovereignty over territory. Sovereignty and autonomy. Sovereignty allows nations to govern without external political interference. International law respects the sovereignty of all recognized member nations. Propensity. Natural tendency to behave in certain ways. Natural genetic propensity. Propensity for aggression. Propensity towards bias. Propensity toward violence. Children show a natural propensity to imitate adults' behaviors and language. Genetic factors influence a person's propensity for developing certain diseases. Resilience. Ability to recover from difficulties quickly. Resilience under pressure. Resilience training programs. Ecological system resilience. Mental health resilience. The city showed remarkable resilience after the devastating earthquake. Nature's resilience allows ecosystems to recover from human intervention. Chronology. Arrangement of events in time-based order. Historical event chronology. Detailed chronological order. Archaeological site chronology. Timeline-based chronology. The exhibition displayed the chronology of art movement through centuries. Scientists use carbon dating to establish the chronology of geological events. Momentum. Force gained by movement or ongoing progress. Gain economic momentum. Upward financial momentum. Sustain positive momentum. Momentum behind movement. Technological momentum accelerates societal changes in communication. The movement's momentum grew with every successful protest and petition. Dichotomy. A division between two contrasting conceptual parts. Cultural gender dichotomy. Economic class dichotomy. Dichotomy of perspectives. Dichotomy between theory. The dichotomy of work-life balance concerns many modern professionals. The dichotomy between nature and nurture continues to influence psychology. Trajectory. Path followed by a moving object or idea. Upward growth trajectory. Strategic long-term trajectory. Declining economic trajectory. Education-focused trajectory. Economic growth followed an upward trajectory after key policy reforms. Economic indicators suggest a downward trajectory for the housing market. Deterrent. Something that discourages a particular action. Military strategic deterrent. Effective crime deterrent. Economic sanction deterrent. Psychological threat deterrent. The fear of punishment remains a strong deterrent for potential criminals. Strict penalties act as a powerful deterrent against cybercrime and hacking. Prevalence. The widespread occurrence of a particular condition. Crime prevalence statistics. Cultural practice prevalence. Substance abuse prevalence. Gender disparity prevalence. Childhood obesity prevalence is influenced by diet and physical inactivity. The prevalence of plastic waste has overwhelmed many marine ecosystems. Recession. Economic decline marked by reduced activity. Global financial recession. Deep economic recession. Recession warning signals. Severe market recession. During the recession, many companies resorted to massive employee layoffs. The recession forced businesses to rethink their long-term growth strategies. Symbiosis. Close interaction between two different organisms. Symbiosis in ecosystems. Symbiosis between species. Symbiotic survival strategy. Symbiosis and coevolution. Coral and algae exhibit a classic example of mutualistic marine symbiosis. Symbiosis allows both organisms to survive where they otherwise couldn't. Embodiment. Tangible expression of an abstract idea. Embodiment of courage. Embodiment of leadership. Artistic cultural embodiment. Idealistic moral embodiment. Her dedication is the embodiment of professionalism and ethical conduct. Einstein's theory of relativity is the embodiment of modern physics principles. Ecstasy. Intense state of overwhelming emotional joy. Intense emotional ecstasy. Momentary blissful ecstasy. Ecstasy-inducing experiences. Ecstasy and transcendence. His poetry captures moments of ecstasy blended with serene melancholy. Emotional ecstasy may result from strong dopamine and endorphin release. Forensic. Related to crime solving with evidence. Forensic evidence analysis. Forensic toxicology report. Forensic linguistic expertise. Digital forensic specialists. Advances in forensic technology improve accuracy in criminal investigations. Forensic science helps solve crimes through biological and chemical evidence. Dissemination. Spreading information or ideas to many people. Dissemination of findings. Media-driven dissemination. Dissemination of propaganda. Global news dissemination. The Internet allows rapid dissemination of news across global audiences. Education depends on the dissemination of accurate knowledge and values. Stereotype. Oversimplified and fixed idea about the group. Cultural gender stereotype. Negative harmful stereotype. Popular societal stereotype. Overcome limiting stereotype. Artists challenge cultural stereotype through bold and provocative works. Stereotype often leads to discrimination and social exclusion of minorities. Inclination. A person's natural tendency or preference. Natural creative inclination. Religious spiritual inclination. Genetic behavioral inclination. Inclination toward optimism. There's a growing inclination toward plant-based diets and sustainable food. Students show inclination toward subjects they find personally meaningful. Mechanism. System of parts working together or a process. Feedback control mechanism. Biological defense mechanism. Legal regulatory mechanism. Reward-based mechanism. The mechanism of addiction involves both psychology and brain chemistry. Voting is a democratic mechanism enabling citizens to express collective will. Solidarity. Unity based on shared goals or interests. Global humanitarian solidarity. Community mutual solidarity. International protest solidarity. Collective grassroots solidarity. Solidarity among nations promotes peace, cooperation, and global stability. Acts of solidarity strengthen communities facing hardship or natural disasters. Anomaly. Something unusual or deviating from the norm. Unexpected scientific anomaly. Anomaly detection algorithm. Structural design anomaly. Historical timeline anomaly. Scientists detected an anomaly in the spacecraft's communication signal. They found an anomaly in the results, suggesting instrument malfunction. Affiliation. Official connection with an organization or group. Institutional academic affiliation. Professional network affiliation. Community-based affiliation. University department affiliation. The university's affiliation with tech firms boosts its research and innovation. National affiliation can affect how individuals are treated in foreign countries. Repercussions. An unintended consequence occurring after an event. Severe political repercussions. Legal punitive repercussions. Diplomatic global repercussions. Environmental policy repercussions. Economic sanctions often cause severe repercussions for local populations. Political instability had widespread repercussions on international markets. Commodity. Goods or materials exchanged in the market. Agricultural export commodity. Commodity pricing fluctuations. Commodity-based economy. Strategic essential commodity. Gold is a traditional commodity used to hedge against economic uncertainty. In modern capitalism, even personal data has become a tradable commodity. Premise. Foundational idea or assumption for the argument. False argumentative premise. Scientific hypothesis premise. Business investment premise. Basic philosophical premise. A weak premise can undermine even the most compelling scientific research. The debate centered around the false premise of inherent cultural superiority. Consensus. General agreement among a group's members. Broad scientific consensus. Emerging global consensus. Moral societal consensus. Consensus-based decision. Scientists reached a consensus about climate change being human-induced. Consensus among stakeholders is critical during constitutional amendments. Framework. A structure that supports or organizes something. Conceptual design framework. Scientific theoretical framework. Cultural interpretive framework. Research analytical framework. The framework outlines ethical boundaries for artificial intelligence developers. A regulatory framework ensures safety in pharmaceutical product development. Legitimacy. Lawful, acceptable, or recognized as valid. Institutional legal legitimacy. Regime political legitimacy. Moral authority legitimacy. Judicial legitimacy concerns. Legal legitimacy depends on adherence to recognized laws and procedures. Policy legitimacy relies on evidence-based, decision-making and consultation. Dilemma. Difficult choice between two unfavorable options. Legal constitutional dilemma. Financial investment dilemma. Dilemma in decision-making. Dilemma with consequences. Every parent eventually faces the dilemma of discipline versus understanding. Political leaders often confront the dilemma of justice versus national security. Hypocrisy. Pretending to have moral beliefs not practiced. Religious leadership hypocrisy. Institutional double hypocrisy. Blatant media hypocrisy. Cultural elitist hypocrisy. Hypocrisy becomes dangerous when disguised as moral or ethical superiority. The documentary exposed the hypocrisy within the political lobbying system. Ambiguity. Uncertainty due to having multiple interpretations. Legal contractual ambiguity. Linguistic syntactic ambiguity. Ambiguity in communication. Textual interpretive ambiguity. The film ends in ambiguity, leaving viewers pondering multiple outcomes. Ambiguity in job descriptions often causes workplace stress and inefficiency. Connotation. The implied or emotional meaning of word. Negative cultural connotation. Emotional word connotation. Racial historical connotation. Subtle linguistic connotation. The connotation of discipline can vary in academic versus military contexts. Some words carry a negative connotation, despite their dictionary definitions. Fragmentation. Breaking into separate or incomplete parts. Market structural fragmentation. Institutional system fragmentation. Geographic regional fragmentation. Information-driven fragmentation. Market fragmentation creates opportunities for niche products and services. Political fragmentation weakens national unity and complicates policymaking. Threshold. Point at which something begins or changes. Critical decision threshold. Economic poverty threshold. Minimum detection threshold. Investment entry threshold. The noise level remained below the acceptable threshold for residential areas. A country's poverty threshold influences social welfare and economic planning. Intervention. Action taken to change or improve the situation. Early intervention programs. Crisis intervention strategies. Emergency medical intervention. Behavioral change intervention. Parental intervention helped resolve bullying incidents in several schools. Early intervention is crucial in treating developmental disorders effectively. Arbitration. Settling disputes through a neutral third party. International trade arbitration. Dispute resolution arbitration. Contractual rights arbitration. Independent panel arbitration. Arbitration can be voluntary or mandatory depending on legal jurisdiction. A neutral third party conducted the arbitration without favoring either side. Infrastructure. Basic systems supporting society or the economy. Public transport infrastructure. Critical health infrastructure. National defense infrastructure. Urban drainage infrastructure. Infrastructure inequality often reflects wider economic and social disparities. Transportation infrastructure plays a critical role in regional trade and mobility. Plagiarism. Using someone else's work without credit. Academic integrity plagiarism. Intellectual property plagiarism. Accidental content plagiarism. Detection software plagiarism. Online plagiarism detection tools are widely used in educational institutions. Many educators now teach plagiarism awareness through writing workshops. Proximity. Nearness in space, time, or relationship. Geographic spatial proximity. Cultural neighborhood proximity. Immediate workplace proximity. Residential commercial proximity. Living in close proximity to nature promotes mental and physical health. Living in proximity to factories may expose residents to harmful pollutants. Retention. The ability to keep or retain something. Memory capacity retention. Customer loyalty retention. Academic learning retention. Policy document retention. Product quality strongly affects consumer trust and long-term brand retention. High retention rates often indicate a healthy and supportive work environment. Fluctuation. Continuous variation between high and low levels. Currency market fluctuation. Economic price fluctuation. Hormonal level fluctuation. Resource availability fluctuation. Hormonal fluctuation during puberty affects mood and physical development. Frequent fluctuation in stock prices creates investment risks and opportunities. Contradiction. Opposing ideas that cannot coexist logically. Moral ethical contradiction. Internal belief contradiction. Theoretical data contradiction. Legal testimony contradiction. Literature often explores human nature's internal contradictions and complexity. The contradiction between expectations and reality can cause emotional conflict. Accountability. Responsibility for actions or decisions taken. Government public accountability. Fiscal management accountability. Corporate leadership accountability. Performance metrics accountability. Government transparency promotes accountability and prevents abuse of power. Accountability ensures individuals take responsibility for their roles and outcomes. Simulation. An imitation of a real-world situation or process. Real-time simulation software. Economic behavior simulation. Virtual environment simulation. Weather forecasting simulation. Researchers used a simulation to test how pandemics might spread globally. Earthquake simulations educate citizens on how to respond during seismic events. Orientation. Introduction or adjustment to new environment. Student university orientation. Career development orientation. Training workshop orientation. Organizational role orientation. The university held a week-long orientation for all incoming freshman students. Orientation training promotes inclusion and diversity in multinational companies. Stratification. Division into layers, classes, or groups. Economic income stratification. Occupational role stratification. Social stratification systems. Stratification and inequality. Stratification in education limits equal opportunities for disadvantaged students. Cultural stratification can lead to discrimination and systemic inequality in society. Exploitation. Unfair use of something for personal benefit. Political system exploitation. Market-driven exploitation. Colonial economic exploitation. Technological data exploitation. Exploitation of natural gas reserves can significantly boost a country's economy. Animal exploitation in labs has sparked fierce debates among ethical researchers. Phenomenon. Observable event or remarkable occurrence. Global warming phenomenon. Migration trend phenomenon. Rare astronomical phenomenon. Pandemic spread phenomenon. The phenomenon of viral videos has revolutionized digital content consumption. The sleep paralysis phenomenon remains largely unexplained by modern science. Manifestation. Clear display or expression of something. Manifestation of beliefs. Manifestation of power. Manifestation in behavior. Manifestation of ideology. Innovation is a manifestation of curiosity and collaborative problem-solving. Political unrest is a manifestation of systemic inequality and economic hardship. Sanction. Official permission or penalty for specific actions. International diplomatic sanction. Official administrative sanction. Targeted individual sanction. Institutional disciplinary sanction. Trade sanctions can severely impact a country's economy and global relations. Diplomatic sanctions reduce political engagement with non-compliant states. Consensus. General agreement among the group or members. Scientific expert consensus. General public consensus. Cross-party political consensus. Institutional policy consensus. Scientists have reached a global consensus on climate change and human impact. There is a growing consensus that education reform is urgently needed nationwide. Perspective. A particular way of viewing or interpreting things. Historical contextual perspective. Educational learner's perspective. Scientific objective perspective. Personal philosophical perspective. History is often interpreted through the perspective of dominant social groups. The documentary provides a sobering perspective on war and human suffering. Paradigm. Widely accepted model or framework of thinking. Scientific research paradigm. Educational learning paradigm. Healthcare treatment paradigm. Philosophical worldview paradigm. Cultural shifts often reflect deeper changes in societal paradigms and beliefs. Digital technology has created a new economic paradigm for global commerce. Assimilation. Integration into a different culture or group. Immigrant societal assimilation. Linguistic structural assimilation. Ethnic minority assimilation. Historical colonial assimilation. Assimilation into mainstream culture can lead to the loss of heritage languages. Nutrition influences the assimilation of vitamins and essential dietary minerals. Empowerment. Granting power or authority to someone. Community health empowerment. Educational youth empowerment. Digital tool empowerment. Leadership skill empowerment. Youth empowerment boosts confidence, decision-making, and personal growth. Empowerment involves granting authority, control, and the freedom to choose. Amendment. Official change or addition to the document. Constitutional law amendment. Procedural rules amendment. Document wording amendment. Governance charter amendment. Legal amendment ensures justice aligns with modern societal needs and ethics. The new amendment prohibits discrimination in hiring based on gender identity. Subsidy. Financial assistance provided by the government. Agricultural export subsidy. Government housing subsidy. Renewable energy subsidy. Industrial production subsidy. Subsidy is often granted to industries crucial for economic growth and stability. Agricultural subsidy programs help stabilize food prices and support rural farmers. Speculation. A guess or theory without complete evidence. Financial market speculation. Economic bubble speculation. Scientific theory speculation. Political motive speculation. Media speculation can influence public perception before facts are confirmed. Speculation should be backed by evidence rather than assumptions and rumors. Alignment. Proper positioning or agreement among parts. Organizational vision alignment. International treaty alignment. Curriculum standard alignment. Technological platform alignment. Alignment with technological trends keeps the company competitive and relevant. Their ideas were in alignment, despite different academic and cultural backgrounds. Transmission. The act of sending or transferring something. Disease virus transmission. Data wireless transmission. Transmission of knowledge. Transmission via networks. The documentary explained the transmission process of ancient oral traditions. Transmission of knowledge is vital for preserving cultural heritage and wisdom. Prevalence. Degree of commonness within a certain context. Disease health prevalence. Internet usage prevalence. Poverty rural prevalence. Obesity trend prevalence. The prevalence of stress-related illnesses is alarming among urban workers. High prevalence of smoking remains a concern in many developing countries. Compensation. Something given to offset loss or injury. Financial loss compensation. Work injury compensation. Contractual term compensation. Property dispute compensation. The court ordered compensation for emotional distress and lost opportunities. Victims of natural disasters often rely on government compensation packages. Depiction. Representation through words, images, or art. Artistic character depiction. Historical event depiction. Graphic novel depiction. Psychological trauma depiction. The novel's depiction of poverty was both realistic and emotionally powerful. The film's depiction of war emphasized human suffering and moral complexity. Epidemic. Rapid spread of disease within the population. Global influenza epidemic. Obesity public epidemic. Drug addiction epidemic. Digital burnout epidemic. During an epidemic, misinformation can spread faster than the disease itself. Global cooperation is necessary to control any large-scale epidemic outbreak. Mediation. Intervention to resolve conflict or dispute. Legal settlement mediation. Labor dispute mediation. Court-appointed mediation. Cultural tension mediation. Mediation resolved the labor dispute without resorting to a prolonged strike. Professional mediation is useful in resolving workplace harassment complaints. Recurrence. Reappearance or repetition of something again. Conflict violence recurrence. Memory trauma recurrence. Seasonal pattern recurrence. Behavior problem recurrence. Recurrence of violence indicates unresolved tension between ethnic groups. Earthquake recurrence patterns help scientists predict future seismic events. Autonomy. Independence or freedom in decision-making. Regional political autonomy. Personal decision autonomy. Institutional legal autonomy. Social governance autonomy. Autonomy in learning helps students take charge of their academic progress. True autonomy exists when individuals can act without coercion or dependence. Exaggeration. Overstatement beyond what is accurate. Sales benefit exaggeration. Historical event exaggeration. Artistic style exaggeration. Advertising claim exaggeration. Media outlets sometimes use exaggeration to boost their article viewership. Exaggeration in writing can either engage or mislead the intended audience. Inscription. Words carved or written on a surface. Ancient stone inscription. Historical artifact inscription. Bronze tablet inscription. Symbolic ritual inscription. The monument's Latin inscription intrigued scholars from around the world. Inscriptions help preserve linguistic records from long-lost historical cultures. Controversy. Public disagreement involving opposing views. Political election controversy. Scientific ethics controversy. Media coverage controversy. Legal controversy unresolved. There's significant controversy surrounding the ethics of genetic engineering. The mining operation ignited controversy over destruction of sacred tribal land. Scarcity. Limited availability of resources or goods. Energy production scarcity. Medical equipment scarcity. Financial funding scarcity. Energy scarcity concerns. The scarcity of arable land affects food production and distribution globally. Water scarcity in arid regions threatens agriculture and public health severely. Inference. Logical conclusion drawn from given evidence. Statistical model inference. Experimental result inference. Linguistic context inference. Scientific hypothesis inference. Inference helps readers understand implied meanings beyond written words. Statistical inference helps researchers predict population trends from samples. Redemption. Regaining something lost, especially respect. Spiritual moral redemption. Financial bond redemption. Legal sentence redemption. Coupon voucher redemption. Redemption sometimes begins with acknowledging one's faults and mistakes. Redemption is sometimes a long journey, filled with self-reflection and sacrifice. Coexistence. Living or existing peacefully side by side. Urban wildlife coexistence. Economic class coexistence. Traditional modern coexistence. Ethnic community coexistence. The ecosystem relies on the coexistence of multiple interdependent species. Coexistence of technology and tradition defines many modern rural societies. Autonomy. Ability to make decisions without control. Regional political autonomy. Personal decision autonomy. Institutional legal autonomy. Social governance autonomy. Children need autonomy to develop confidence and decision-making skills. Financial autonomy empowers people to make independent economic choices. Rigidity. Quality of being inflexible or unchanging. Mental behavioral rigidity. Curriculum content rigidity. Legal framework rigidity. Ideological system rigidity. Social rigidity can reinforce harmful stereotypes and discriminatory practices. Excessive rigidity in parenting can hinder emotional development in children. Migration. Movement of living creatures across locations. Economic labor migration. Climate change migration. Historical mass migration. Population shift migration. Wildlife migration corridors are essential for species survival and reproduction. Seasonal bird migration patterns are influenced by climate and food availability. Coincidence. Two events are happening without a clear link. Time-space coincidence. Narrative plot coincidence. Identity name coincidence. Life-changing coincidence. The coincidence of symptoms confused even the most experienced doctors. The coincidence of data trends required further investigations and replication. Prudence. Careful thinking before making any choices. Time-space coincidence. Narrative plot coincidence. Identity name coincidence. Life-changing coincidence. Prudence in spending ensures long-term savings and reduced financial stress. Medical practitioners must exercise prudence when diagnosing rare conditions.